Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Football Fallout. This is the quarterback edition for Week 12 of the NFL season. If you're new to this show, here's what I do. I quickly break down who was projected to do well in Week 11, who actually did well in Week 11, give you a little bit of commentary, and then we end the video with our waiver wire selections. If you want to go directly to those waiver wire suggestions as of Monday morning, go ahead and check the timestamp below. It will take you straight there. I also give out my NFL awards this week. The quarterback awards have a Kicked in the Nuts award, a Dumpster Fire award, and an I'm Watching You award. And somebody caught my eye. There's a little glimmer in my eye about somebody, and they should be for you as well. Before we get started, as I always say, please give us a like and a subscribe. We want to unlock some features. We need your help to do that. A like and a subscribe will go a long way for us. But let's just jump right in here and look at the top 10 projected scoring quarterbacks in Week 11 in order. Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes is white because he hasn't played yet. Deshaun Watson, Drew Brees, Dak Prescott, Matt Ryan, Jameis Winston, Josh Allen, Tom Brady, and Jacoby Brissett, who actually scored in the top 10 as of Monday. Again, the Monday Night Football has not been played yet. It's Jimmy Garoppolo. The ones in white were correctly predicted by ESPN. Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Allen actually scored more than Lamar Jackson, which is interesting given Lamar Jackson's performance. You would think that he scored more, but Allen had a great game. Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold, Jeff Driskel, Kyler Murray, Drew Brees, Baker Mayfield. Quick commentary here. Baker Mayfield, I've been talking about him for a while. I know about the helmet swing heard around the world. We have a video out there if you're curious where I liken Myles Garrett's helmet swing to Happy Gilmore taking his hockey skate off and trying to stab people with it, if you understand that reference, if you're old enough like I am to understand that reference from Happy Gilmore. Drew Brees, not a lot surprises here other than Jeff Driskel. Very interesting that he popped up. He can run the ball, as it turns out. This is the second week that he's done pretty well. Sam Darnold just completely took apart the Redskins defense. I'm not super surprised at that, but I don't know that that's a trend. Kirk Cousins continues to prove his naysayers wrong, had a great game, and then the other people in that list, I don't think there are any surprises there. Now, for the superlatives this week, my NFL awards, my Kicked in the Nuts award for quarterback goes to... Deshaun Watson. Man, I was, as an NFL fan, let me say this, I was let down as an NFL fan. I thought that was going to be just a slug match. I thought Houston matched up well. They're coming off a bye week. I was hoping that Will Fuller would play. I think him not playing changed a little bit of the complexion of the game, but I'm not going to make the argument that if Will Fuller went in there, it was going to be a completely different ball game. Baltimore just completely laid flat the Houston Texans this week. Kudos to them. Deshaun Watson, I'm not going to criticize the guy. You're not going to throw for 5 touchdowns every week. It's okay not to, but I was just a little bummed as an NFL fan, and I'm sure there are some fantasy football teams out there that was that were expecting Deshaun Watson to really just light it up and throw for at least 3 touchdowns. I certainly was expecting that myself, but he didn't show up this week. And credit Baltimore, their defense is playing a lot better in the last few weeks. They're kind of a scary team. Now, the Dumpster Vomit Award of the week is Kyle Allen. Now, I flirted with putting in a couple other guys like Ryan Finley, for example, in Cincinnati, but Kyle Allen, 4 interceptions. Atlanta, by the way, has looked great since the bye week. Too bad they didn't have their bye week in week 4 if they're going to look this good off of a bye week. But yeah, Kyle Allen, man, you throw for 4 interceptions, you get on the list. Sorry, buddy. He's a good quarterback. I like him. I still think he's probably going to be the future quarterback there in Carolina. Tough week this week against really a defense that had been giving up some things, but credit Atlanta. They went into their bye week. They made some adjustments, and they're looking pretty good, at least in the last 2 weeks here. Now, my I'm Watching You award, I talked about him earlier. Jeff Driskel with Matt Stafford probably out for another maybe 4 to 6 weeks, they're saying, with that fractured back. Driskel's going to get some time. We know that Detroit, the running back situation's a little murky. I should say a lot murky. They can't really get anything going in the running game. They have switched to basically pass-first approach. They have Golladay, they have Jones, they have some other pieces there. And as bad, I guess, as the running game has been for Detroit, their running backs can't catch the ball out of the backfield. Hawkinson, he's not really, meeting those expectations of a lot of people drafting him earlier in the year. But it basically, long story short, Detroit can move the ball and they have weapons. They can score the ball. Jeff Driskel can run. We see with Josh Allen, we see with Lamar Jackson how important that is. Keep an an eye out for him. Do I think that he should be high on your waiver wire list? No, I think there is way better value out there. If you're a daily fantasy player, he's somebody you want to keep your eye on. He's, of course, his budget's going to go up and up. It's going to start creeping up on you. But based on his ability the last couple of weeks here, he looks like he can legitimately move the ball, and that's important. But now let's move it on to my top 5 waiver plays early in the week, and we'll clean this up tomorrow with some good stream plays based on matchup for Week 12 and long-term plays. But my favorite waiver plays so far, number 1, Kirk Cousins. He's highlighted in white just because he's on bye week. I still like to add him. If you need depth in your quarterback position, add him to your roster. I don't think you'll be disappointed to have him on the bench this week on the waiver wire. I think he's worth it. 3 touchdowns this week against a really, really underrated Denver Broncos defense. He's doing a great job. So kudos to Cousins. Everybody was giving up on him earlier in the year, and he's really come back and really proving himself. And this Minnesota team is very talented, and he's going to get better when Thielen comes back. So very good. Jimmy Garoppolo, he continues to improve. I know that his wide receivers were banged up. He still put up, I think, 4 touchdowns again against the Cardinals. Very, very well. Led them to a comeback victory. Good for Garoppolo. But once Kittle, because Kittle was out. Once Kittle is back, and once this receiving group is back to full steam, man, this is a really good team. They can pass the ball. Garoppolo is kind of showing what his potential is. So still, gives an interception up every now and then. Still gives away the ball every now and then. But he has a lot of weapons around him. I like his prospects moving forward. Derek Carr moved up my list this week. I like him. He's playing ridiculously efficient. Had a really nice, clean game against Cincinnati. Since that Green Bay game where he turned the ball over twice in the red zone and really just kind of killed the chance, at least for the Oakland Raiders, to cover the spread in that game, he's really been playing fantastic. They've gone on a run. And I'll say this, Tyrell Williams in that receiving core, they're good, man. They have a really nice chemistry. I think Oakland is probably one more receiver away from being a really, really good team. I believe they're 6-4 right now. Really cool kind of see what's going on there in Oakland in their last season in Oakland. I like Derek Carr. I actually swooped him up and started him this week, based on my analytics and some of the waiver stuff I talked about last week. I think you can definitely ride him, going forward into the season, again, based on matchup. Number 4 on my list is Baker Mayfield. I've been saying for the last few weeks now, I know how he started. That's what I predicted would happen personally. I also predicted that in the back half of the season he would get better as the Cleveland Browns schedule gets easier. Remember, he has 2 games against Cincinnati. He has another game against some questionable defenses, I know. So I wouldn't play him every week, but again, value. He's going to continue to grow in value, and so will the rest of the receivers for the the Cleveland Browns. And lastly, Nick Foles made my list for the first time. Only owned in 18% of the leagues. I like Nick Foles. The reason I like him specifically is while Gardner Minshew was in there, the first game or two while he was starting, like back in like maybe week 2, like his first start, their offensive play caller was still basically doing what Pittsburgh's doing, just completely like throwing the ball nonstop. Well, they changed and they kind of went towards a Leonard Fournette first type offense, and I think it worked well to them. Well, Nick Foles comes back, and they go and revert right back into that pass first approach. A lot of receivers have been involved. You see DJ Chark got in the end zone twice. I think they're going to air it out. DeFilippo, I think it's John DeFilippo, but the offensive coordinator, the play caller there, DeFilippo, he calls a lot of pass plays. They want Nick Foles to be a passer, and I think he's going to give you lots of value, whether it's your fantasy football team or your daily fantasy football team. Again, it's all about schematics. I think this Jacksonville Jaguars team is shifting towards that. Very similar, I think, to a Pittsburgh Steelers offense and what the Steelers wanted to be with Ben Roethlisberger. With Roethlisberger, they want to push the ball downfield and involve a lot of people. That's what Jacksonville is going to try to do this year. That's what Minnesota did last year before DeFilippo got canned towards the end of the season. So that's kind of his staple. So pay attention to that going forward for sure. I think that brings me through now this episode. We do all position groups except for kicker. So check out the running back, wide receiver, tight end, and defense and special teams video. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you on another episode soon. Thanks, everyone.